for every time I think that the dating world is bad, then I just keep getting reminded by stories like I'm going to read tonight that how relationships are just not always that good either. And so I don't know what to think, which is why I'm asking myself, why am I bothering looking at dating? And if I'm dating, am I even looking at the purpose of ultimately getting into a relationship? It doesn't sound good at all. It just keeps getting worse. And I don't know if it's just social media or it's just stories like this. So I got two stories to bring up to you right now on Depraved and Debaucherous New York Post. One woman says that, why could I forgive my husband's one night stand, but not his emotional cheating? And so there's a story about a woman who was at the moment 6 months pregnant. Rachel Gebeline, age 28, she says her husband was growing distant. He'd go grocery shopping every day just to get out of the house. Seemed eager to go travel to places like Boston and Miami for near monthly work trips. And she felt like he was trying to physically escape. And she was trapped with the idea of having two kids under the age of 2 by herself while her husband was off. And she also said there were other troubles. When your husband doesn't want to sleep with you, that's a red flag. And then her worst confirmed fears came in March when her husband admitted he'd been having an affair with a woman he met at a bachelor party in Las Vegas. And a one-time tryst could have been forgivable. But he was desperate not to break up her family. Or she was, rather. So she found email exchanges between the two. They referred to each other as boyfriend and girlfriend, and that fate had brought them together. And then they go along, and then she talks about emotional cheating, where two people can form such a close connection. It rivals or supplants a partner's bond with their primary partner, which can seriously threaten a marriage, even if no sex has taken place. And so there's a lot that's being said about all this. And we move along and say that we talked about not too long ago, Adam Levine, denying to cheat on his pregnant wife with the Instagram model Summer Stroh. If you need to know the reference on that, just go back about a month ago. You'll see I did a 30-minute program on that story. And in this, they talk about emotional cheating. And the idea is that the boundaries around emotional cheating are nebulous. It can do clear damage. And it's a sign that somebody is missing from the current relationship. So it's something about where a man or a woman cannot be emotionally available with their thoughts, with what they're doing. They can't open up. They won't open up after all the time they've opened up with their partner, and something's going on where there's an unhappiness. And they feel like, well, they're already so embedded into the relationship, so embedded to a marriage, that whatever can be said, even these hard discussions cannot be done for fear of something going wrong. I guess that's what it is. So now, the Post talked to a clinical social worker and psychotherapist named Jennifer Kelman. She says it's important for couples to break down the root of the affair, whether it's emotional or physical, and be able to express anger, frustration, or disappointment rather than burying it. And a betrayal doesn't need to lead to a breakup. It can, but it doesn't always have to. If both sides are communicating their differences, then there's a chance they can try to work things out. But if they're starting to stop, there's a problem there. But we're seeing that becoming a thing more often, where some people just want to go ahead and it's not just for the sex, it's because there's an emotional component that the person that's cheating, the cheater, wants to feel like they can have some emotional connection with somebody else because they feel like they need to go ahead and channel that emotion to somebody else because there's somebody else that's more vulnerable to them and more willing to accept the emotion. Meanwhile, the person they married or they were seriously in a relationship with, they can't go to about this. And I can tell you one thing that probably was the contributing factor is the fact that he has kids. And that it's no longer him and her in the relationship, it's now the children. And because of the mounting pressure he's putting on himself and not talking to his wife, who at the same time she's being a mother to your kids, he has to be able to make time as much as she needs to make time. No matter how difficult, they have to make time to communicate. It still starts off where you're still husband and wife. You still got to act like that. You still got to communicate like that. You just don't lose that, and then you also become father and mother of the child. You got to be both, right? It makes sense to me on the outside, but it's obviously trouble for some people to do that. And I look at that and I'm saying to myself, it sucks, because these are the things that I listen to here. And I say people just don't take enough time to really pay attention to who they're with. These are the kind of things I think you would kind of iron out before you get together, no? But that's because I think people settle too much. People have to realize, if you're going to marry with someone, realize that when that person is down the line, ultimately somebody you're going to marry. I mean, a lot of times I've always heard where like the person you're going to marry is never who you would date off the bat. But eventually something comes up where there's just another type of bond that's so special and so intimate and so long lasting and just so, I mean, there's just a comfort level. There's a bond. But is the bond strong enough to withstand something like this? I've always heard a couple of things when it comes to like what you're going to do in a relationship. Number one, the one red flag I heard out of everything. Now that's beside the fact that he wants to go take business trips, because that's, if they're business trips, there might be business trips. If he's communicating back and forth and letting her know, okay, here's what he's doing, this is what he's going to do, just to put her at ease, that's because he wants to do that volunteering. He doesn't feel like he needs to report back because he's being watched. Like there's no suspicion on her end. There's no worry to be suspicious on his end because nobody's doing anything wrong. But you heard it right there, that he met the person he cheated on at a bachelor party. And you know what? If it were me, I don't know, as a guy who's married, you know, for a woman to go to a bachelor party or a man to go to a bachelor party, when I hear that, and I'm saying, okay, when you hear that, I don't think you can go out and try to fraternize with the other people that are single and fooling around, because that's what the bachelor and bachelorette parties are going to be. A bachelor party in Vegas. I mean, the fact that the guy wanted to go along with his friends, whether his friends egged him along, or whether the woman, this lady, decided to consent and say, yeah, have a good time, without feeling there was going to be something that was not going to happen in Vegas. If your man says he's going to go take a bachelor party, look, these days, I wouldn't recommend it on either side. Hell, I wouldn't recommend it for your own marriage to have a bachelor party. I mean, I think the people that really understand that, I mean, it's a different day and time. There's just too much temptation now. And the environment of how the bachelor parties are now, it's so different from before. Like, you're talking about going to do a bachelor party in Las Vegas. It's just asking for trouble. First of all, the guy will lose some money on the gambling. He's not going to come back with winnings. And sure, he might be out with the guys, but the guys are all going to screw. And he's going to go do it because he's one of the guys. He will forget he's married. I just think it's a pretty common thing that if you have a woman that wants to go to Vegas for a bachelor party or a bachelorette party or the other way around, man, unless they're single, I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't want to do that. And I think that's one of those things where I never cared for the bachelorette party. I don't think it needs to be that like kind of thing. Let's go to Vegas. Let's go make it a girls' night out. No, girls' weekend. No. It's already on the wrong foot. And it's things like that can lead to a bad marriage anyway. That's the way I look at it if I was going to do it right. You tell me if I'm wrong. Otherwise, you're the ones that decided to get into a commitment, and you're already pushing the boundaries or already shaking the foundation of your commitment by doing something like this. It's all risk. But then again, if you want to do it, that's how you want to treat your marriage, and you're going to go on with your friends, you're going to do just like them. You're going to go to Vegas for a bachelorette party, you're going to be depraved and debaucherous.